Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Joe Theodore, and welcome to my small weekly forecast this Sunday. Today is a new moon in Leo. Whenever you're watching this, if you're watching this the day I release this, this is Sunday, August 4th, the day of the new moon in Leo, which I made a whole video on the other day. So if you have not watched that and you are interested in new moon and Leo vibes and what I kind of foresee this moment to be, then please pause the video, go watch it, or watch the rest of this. I don't think this forecast is going to be that long, honestly. If you guys know me by now, my weekly forecasts are, sometimes they could be a little long. Sometimes I want to talk about a lot of stuff. And then other times I want to just pick like one major aspect that I enjoy, that I really see as something like, hey, we should kind of hone in on this. Now today, there's a lot going on for the coming week, but I am going to focus just on one thing. And if you want a super in-depth forecast, then my August forecast is 40-something minutes long. And I've been realizing something about myself since making this YouTube channel a couple of months ago, is that my monthly forecasts are really beefy. I really spend a lot of time discussing them, discussing what I feel is going to be the most important parts of the month. When something is super important, of course, I will make a separate video for it, such as the new moon, like I just did the other day. I made a whole video dedicated to that, but I also talked about it in my monthly. So I think from now on, a majority of the meat and potatoes of this channel will be my monthlies, of course, which will always be released about a week and a half earlier on Patreon, by the way. So around like August 20th, probably, I'll put my September one up, right? So if you want to support the channel, my livelihood, and in any way involving like a couple of bucks per month, you can get access to my early release monthly. But yeah, guys, I've learned that about myself, that the monthlies are really important to me. And I love spending the time to really go through 40-something minutes worth of transits. So when it comes to the weeklies, I'm still trying to figure out like how much do I want to share for the week on a Sunday? Like what kind of video might I make during the week? Like I'm so off the cuff and I really just need the inspiration to come on here and record videos, So this week, Mercury goes retrograde Monday, first day of the week. We have Venus ingress into Virgo on Monday. These are massive, right? Venus is finally out of Leo. And Mercury's finally going retrograde, which I've also made 2 videos on. Mercury retrograde. I've already been talking about this, guys. How I think this Mercury retrograde is something we're already aware of. I think we've been, in the last 2 weeks during this pre-shadow, I think we have been dealing with the theme, the event, as I like to say. Every retrograde has an event, a focal point, a focus for that house topic and zodiac sign and where that is in our life. Yes, can things go wrong with your car and with your stereo and your refrigerator? And will your phone maybe break or something? Yeah, this is just what happens when Mercury retrograde is happening in the collective dimension, which we're a part of. But we also have our own dimension of personal subjective life and living experience, which will only manifest specifically in that house topic that Virgo, the early degrees, and Leo are. So we already know, in my opinion, what the event is, the specifics, okay? Now, what's beautiful about this retrograde is that Venus has just entered the pool with Mercury. They're both swimming in Virgo. Mercury's home turf as well, aside from Gemini, obviously. So for me, I've been saying, hey, the pre-shadow might have been the most tense part, right? And because Mercury's going retrograde officially and Venus is so close to it, which we're going to have Venus conjunct Mercury Wednesday and Thursday, right? As Mercury's moving back towards Leo, Venus is starting to move direct, and they both meet in the center of each other, right? For 2 days straight. They share 2 degrees with each other as one's moving backwards and one's moving forward. And then by Friday, Mercury moves past Venus, heading towards Leo, full steam ahead. So for me, this Mercury retrograde being hit with a benefic, and one of Mercury's best friends, honestly, because they're always traveling in the sky together, for the most part. So when they're together, it's poetic, it's beautiful, in my opinion. There's a lot of solutions that can get discovered to mercurial intellectual problems. It can bring the feels to the mind and allow us to use that to our benefit, or are we going to get too caught up in our feelings, right? But I feel this is a good omen. I like how Venus immediately ingresses as Mercury immediately goes retrograde, and how they're going to have a massive conjunction together for 2 days, right? I like that. And because we're dealing with Virgo, whatever Virgo is in your life, that little part of your life for that short amount of time before Mercury really gets back into Leo, there'll be like a little, I don't want to say an issue, but we're going to be dealing with a slight event happening in Virgo in your life. And then once Mercury gets into Leo, forget about it. We're going to be dealing with whatever Leo issues we've already been understanding and are aware of. Okay? And think about this. Mercury retrograde is all about the intellect, the mind, creative thinking, trying to critically think our way into solutions. Whatever problems and issues arise, it's going to affect the way we process information. So this is a big deal, guys, for this week, for Venus. Also, or it's a big deal because Venus is involved so early on in this. And I like that. I do. Also Wednesday, the sun will officially sextile Jupiter. Okay, so the sun has been sextiling Gemini the entire time that the sun has been in Leo. So even though the sun may not be making any hard aspects, or has not thus far, this doesn't mean that this influence of the sextile by sign is not going on, because it is going on. But now we're finally having that sextile with Jupiter, which to me is going to supercharge the very beginnings of the Jupiter-Mars conjunction. So we're starting to feel in the Gemini part of our life, the sun is charging that up. It's bringing maybe even more good luck there for some of us. I mean, I know for me, my Gemini part of my life, and here's the deal with transits, guys, because I know, and I'm not going to bring in any politicians, but there is one politician who I've been tracking very closely with a lot of Gemini placements. But because of his past actions and his, I don't want to say the word bad, but challenging karma, all these aspects, no matter how positive they may seem, sextiles are supportive, this, that, and the other thing, it's really just supercharging his past actions in that particular part of his life and expanding them. So remember, every planet and aspect and situation in the sky manifests itself a little bit differently based upon someone's karma. So if you've been doing the work in the Gemini part of your life, right? Like I have a challenging Gemini kind of house topic. My moon and Chiron are in Gemini, and it's in a place in my birth chart that has always been challenging for me. But since doing the very best to work with my Chiron wound, my sacred wound, and of course to understand how to be a proper Gemini moon and a healthy Gemini moon, this moment with Mars and Jupiter has been providing me with tremendous opportunity in some area of my life right now. It's been providing me even more faith in something going on in that part of my life where I really have a hard time struggling with trust, in something that I'm doing professionally at the moment. So because I'm seeing a little bit of results in some area of my life, I'm really beginning to have more faith, Jupiterian faith, in something that I'm doing. and I'm feeling very inspired. And Mars has been giving me that assertiveness and that passion to wake up in the morning and to really want to pursue this thing even further. And the sun has been providing, I could just feel it. And like, I have a lot of Leo stuff going on in my life. So the sun has just been providing even more energy, luck, this inspiration for hope and faith, right? So what's going on for you? You know, we have to ask ourselves these questions all the time. And how can we co-create with this sextile? Because there is supportive energy available. Anyone can call upon a beautiful aspect like this, even though Mars is rough and unpredictable in Gemini. So we have to be careful because we could get triggered too. And that's something else that's happened to me. I definitely have been triggered in Gemini kind of energy, you know, in recent days, especially with politics. You know, the more I follow it in some capacity, it can get angering. And my moon, I feel it in my moon because my moon is in Gemini. So I'm really feeling anything going on in the Gemini part of my life. And Mars is definitely can flip the switch. You know, at any moment, something can get flipped. But we have access to all the colors of the rainbow involving the expressions of a planet and an aspect. And we can choose how to react and participate within that transit as much as we'd like to. And yes, some things are just challenging, right? And we have to just accept that they're challenging and we have to work through that. But accepting and working through that is a choice as well versus resisting. But this sextile energy is very pleasant. It's hitting Jupiter directly. So this is not really hitting Mars direct on. So we're going to feel the most potent with something going on in the Jupiter story in your Gemini placement area. You know, that quadrant of your life, that house topic. We're going to have a very supercharged moment. Now, the only other thing I wanted to bring up, guys, this week, because everything I just said with the Jupiter, Sun, sextile, that's for Wednesday. So Sunday, it's really the only day I want to talk about other than that. And in my notes, we end the week with Mars and Jupiter only 2 degrees away from their official conjunction. Mars will be at 14 degrees and Jupiter at 16. So we have to remember the following week will be the week we finally have our Jupiter-Mars conjunction. I'm expecting sudden events on the world stage that we will not expect, even though that might be hard to believe because every day it seems like there's something happening that we're not expecting. But there's really going to be something that kind of just pops off. And I think we're going to see something in the collective happen for sure, something that just takes over the airwaves. In our own life, I don't know how this is going to manifest for you. But again, to use my own life for example, I mean, having this passion and drive and assertiveness and this energy to really expand this one part of my Gemini part of my life, something going on in that particular house theme, I can expect maybe the cream to continue rising to the top there. I don't see anything negative, so to speak, happening for me in the trajectory that this is moving in my life. So I just feel like I'm going to be riding this positive wave with Jupiter bringing this beautiful energy my way. So I'd be surprised if like Mars decides to take a knife from behind its back and stab me in the heart. Like I'd be surprised, but you know, you never know with Mars, I guess. So this conjunction is going to be big. And I think we all have an opportunity to investigate, you know, Gemini in that part of your life. And again, to just see, like, what can we do here with this conjunction? Like, what does this conjunction really represent? Will there be violence on the world stage regarding this? Aggression, anger? Will something be expanding because Jupiter will blow something up? You know, a part of me, I don't want to get negative and talk about some things I, you know, might feel about the world stage right now. But, you know, when it comes to any sort of attack, any sort of shootings, any sort of escalation of war, Jupiter has the ability to expand that Martian quality. And anytime Mars has touched something significant in the sky, we've had something violent happen. And I'm not talking about your life, guys, but the world stage, there's violence all the time. And when Mars conjunct Uranus, Trump almost got assassinated. So what's going to happen when Mars conjuncts Jupiter? We can expect some sort of massive moment to occur that will be very shocking to people. Maybe not us astrologers who are going to be like, yeah, something was bound to happen on this day. But, it's pouring outside right now. Wow. We haven't had rain, by the way. I don't know where you are in the country. Actually, you know what? Let me know, where are you? Where do you live? Without, not your address, but what state are you from? I live on the Jersey Shore, and we have not had rain in weeks. We have not had a good old rain in so long. So I don't know if you can hear it or not. This microphone is kind of isolated. You may not be able to hear it. But anyway, guys, Jupiter conjunct Mars will begin to really, really squeeze together on Sunday. And then the following week, yes, Mercury will finally ingress back into Leo. And yes, we will have our massive Jupiter-Mars conjunction. There's a lot going on the following week as well, so stay tuned for that. And yes, guys, I will make individual videos for any extra things I want to talk about in the coming week. There might be some subtle changes to the way I produce content here regarding the kind of topics I want to talk about. I want to definitely get back into more educational videos. I will be starting to discuss things that can really teach you something specific that's like a timeless astrology teaching. And yes, with all the astrology happening this month, there's so much I will be diving into making separate videos about. I think the middle of August will be very, very active with the videos I make here, because there's so much going on with the full moon in Aquarius. There's so much going to be going on with a T-square, right? Venus opposite Saturn squaring Jupiter and Mars, the Jupiter-Mars conjunction. So there's a lot to say coming up, guys. But if you want any more meat and potatoes, watch the August forecast. I really talked a lot there. And my new moon video recently, if you would like to go watch more about the new moon. But other than that, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. All that really helps the algorithm. And that's all for today, my friends. Sending you so much love.